Good evening once again. This is Francis from A Journey into the Mind. Tonight, it is Sunday night, and the weather is beautiful in San Diego, California. It has been a lovely sunny day. As usual, I like to be with my audience once a week, at least when I'm not so busy. Tonight, the topic of my conversation is how to manage your emotions from a journey into the mind. When I started writing my autobiography in 2013, I discovered that I had emotions I had not dealt with for a very, very long time. And what that means is that if one has emotions that are not dealt with, when you go into that state of mind, thought, conversation, emotional recollection, or even writing, as I was doing, it is possible to relieve that moment entirely once again. I never thought that it was possible for someone to be able to go back into the past and relieve emotions that one thought were done and over with. I was totally unaware that the fact that I had begun to write an autobiography and I was relating to emotions of the past was going to put me in a state of mind that was sad. I felt the lost once again because I was writing about losing loved ones. And I felt everything as if it was happening right there at the moment. With this conversation, I want to take you somewhere to the fact that is it possible that when someone, if that person constantly cry about what happened then, even though it is been 20, 10, or 30 years, that the person is in fact not only reliving the moment, but also not completely healed from that emotional experience. The reason being is, let's say, for example, I've seen many cases, and we've all seen that in public, where someone killed a child while driving or commits a suicide, and the parents of that child forgive the person completely. Say, I forgive you for what you did to my child. What that does is relieve the burden of a person to carry the rage, the anger, the pain, the emotional experience that one has to deal with every time you have to talk about the event. It releases them completely from that emotional negative experience. In fact, if one speak about an event that happened many years ago and is still tearing and is still crying and is emotional about it, that also tells you that there are emotional feelings that that person has to heal and deal with. Is it possible to let go? Is it possible to speak about that and understand the fact that we have control over our emotions? That we can speak about an event that is painful and we can remember, but we don't have to feel that painful and sadness inside of us that says to us, I'm still hurting. This is still hurting me. And I have seen many cases where public speakers speak about an event or something that happened in their life, an experience they had in the past that was very painful, and they always cry about it. Is it possible that they're more sensitive than anybody else? Yes. Is it also possible that they are not healed from that negative emotional experience of the past? Yes. Because if one is healed from any emotional experience, one can bring the moment to the present and understand that they have no control over what happened in the past, that they have dealt with that emotional experience and they can now move on. That is precisely what forgiveness is all about. When you forgive someone, you let go. That does not mean that you forget. That does not mean that that experience is erased completely from your mind. What does it mean is the fact that you, as an individual, or whoever the person is who is referring to that negative experience, is able to manage emotions when speaking about it. The only way one can manage those experiences without bringing the moment to present and make it feel as if it is still a painful experience and cry about it is if you have dealt with it, released it, understood, and move on. Is the only way. Moving on does not mean that you don't have sentiments, that you don't have feelings, that you're not a caring individual, that you are insensitive about it. No, it means I can control my emotions. I can manage my emotions. I can speak about the situation and tell the world how painful it is without having to tear and feel that pain over and over and over again. Because the fact is, if you are still tearing and crying about an experience that happened to you many years ago, you're still dealing with it. You cannot possibly teach someone how to deal with an emotional experience unless you yourself, the teacher, the coach, or the speaker, is able to manage your own emotional feelings. Or is it possible that faith that we have in God, that we know we can forgive someone, let go once we have understood the nature of that negative experience, once we have understood that we felt the pain, that we dealt with it, but we're moving on because we are healing inside. That is precisely what healing is. Meaning, I dealt with this emotion. I know how to manage. I know what to do. I don't have to let it get me down. Because imagine if one is not able to manage that experience, that means that you as an individual cannot possibly move on. You're still dealing with it. You're still feeling those feelings and those emotions, the same as if they're happening now as when they happened before. Letting go, releasing means I know how to manage. I can deal with this. I felt these feelings before. And letting go means understanding. Letting go means managing. Letting go means I move on. I dealt with this. I know it happened. I know what to do. Because the truth is, if one suffers from depression and cannot manage one's own emotional experience, that depression will continuously go on without releasing those feelings and emotions. Relieving feelings that are negative emotionally have a weight on our spiritual well being. When you are free, you can let it go. You can move on. Thank you for listening. This is Francis. I know how to feel that experience because I have to live it. I have to experience it. I have to accept it. I have to understand it. And I have to deal with it in order to know how to let it go. And that happened when I lost my father and when I lost my children. I have to deal with both of those emotions at a very deep emotional level in order for me today to speak about it and not tear up like I can't deal with these feelings anymore. I know that there is something greater than me that manages me. And because of that, my faith and my belief and my understanding leads me to know how to manage my emotions. Thank you. It's been a pleasure as usual. This is Francis Mayhem. Have a wonderful Sunday evening and a great week. Loving.